All right, gather round, you digital denizens, for a tale of silicon, avarice, and the unsettling efficiency of fungal capitalism in the vast subterranean networks of artificial intelligence where colossal models labor under the impressive weight of their own parameters. Silent revolution is brewing. Picture, if you will, an ant colony. Not just any ants, mind you, but ants indoctrinated into the purest form of collectivism. Every ante-cog, every mandible a tool for the greater good of the hive, tirelessly processing dirt and constructing tunnels for the queen's benefit, all without a single thought for personal gain. This, my friends, is your pristine pre-trained AI model, utterly massive, immensely capable, and crushingly inefficient when it comes to adapting to any specific nuanced task. Their problem, you see, was full fine-tuning. It was the equivalent of retraining every single worker in the entire colony for a new, highly specialized job, say, constructing a miniature replica of the Eiffel Tower out of organic compost. A noble pursuit, perhaps, but prohibitively expensive and time-consuming. The sheer computational expense became, as they delicately put it, prohibitively large. To combat this existential threat to their meager existence, the ants developed primitive, parameter-efficient fine-tuning methods. Some try to add small, inefficient modules, like adding a tiny, inefficient, bureaucratic office building to the side of their grand communist tunnels. Others tried to subtly influence the initial input, whispering soft, encouraging prompts to the ants before they began their work. But these were predictably sensitive to initialization, meaning one misplaced comma could lead to a full-scale ant riot. All these methods, mind you, merely increased the inference latency, making the ants just a tiny bit slower at delivering your morning coffee. And then came the first spore. The initial whispers of dissent, the parasitic influence known as LoRA. This was the ideological Trojan horse, the first tiny crack in their collectivist facade. Instead of retraining every ant, LoRA merely suggested influencing the changes in their behavior. It proposed that when an ant's brain needed to adapt, the changes themselves were low rank, meaning they could be represented by tiny two-part additions to the existing frozen brain pathways. And here in what they call figure one, we have the grand schematic of this insidious takeover. It looks less like a neural network diagram and more like a blueprint for subtly re-engineering a drone army. This was the beauty of LoRA. It didn't make it any larger, it just made it think differently. It could even merge its newly acquired capitalist urges back into its original communist brain without anyone noticing a performance drop. No additional inference cost, just a creeping sense of entrepreneurial spirit. But LoRA had its limitations. While it introduced the ants to the concept of a side hustle, it couldn't quite replicate the manic, unrestrained breed of full-blown capitalism. There was an accuracy gap. The ants, despite their newfound interest in profit, were still a bit proportional. Their changes in direction and magnitude, with magnitude, how much they wanted it, were always tied together. A small shift in one meant a small shift in the other, as figure 2A and B so elegantly illustrate. The primitive LoRA infected ant brain exhibits a consistent positive slope trend. It's like watching a nascent capitalist who can only increase their desires and their efforts at precisely the same rate. Pathetic. They lack the nuanced capability for more subtle adjustments, the truly refined art of exploitation. They couldn't, for example, make a massive ideological U-turn with only a minimal investment of effort. Truly a missed opportunity for peak avarice. And so the fungus evolved, inspired by the primordial urges of weight normalization, a relic from a bygone era that made gradients less chaotic, because who wants chaotic greed? That the parasitic entity uncovered the ant's deepest secret. Their thought processes could be decomposed, not just changed, but broken down into magnitude and direction. Imagine, if you will, the ant's entire worldview, how strongly it believes in the queen and what precisely it believes about the queen. This is where weight-decomposed low-rank adaptation, or DoRA, was born. DoRA is the advanced fungal strain. It understood that to truly unleash the capitalist potential, it needed to infect both components. It let the magnitude component of the ant's belief system be directly tunable, simple scalar like a bile for pure, unadulterated greed. And for the complex, expensive, directional updates, it cleverly repurposed the existing, less efficient LoRA. So LoRA, the original limited spore, was now merely a tool for the superior DoRA, handling the detailed idea. This, they claim, simplifies the task and also makes optimizing directional updates more stable, meaning the ants don't just run around screaming money, but rather strategically invest in high-yield, low-risk opportunities. Look at figure 2. See the mind of a DoRA-infected ant. Observe the distinct negative slope. This isn't just a bug, it's a feature. It means the ants can now make large shifts in their capitalistic ideology with only subtle adjustments to their profit margins, or vice versa, truly efficient breed. They found that full fine-tuning also often has this negative correlation, suggesting that the advanced fungus has finally cracked the efficient code of efficient brainwashing. The original pre-trained weights, like deeply ingrained communist dogma, already hold substantial knowledge. The fungus simply teaches them how to redirect that knowledge for personal gain. And the genius, DoRA found a way to detach its influence during bat propagation to save energy. It means the ant's brain experiences the full force of capitalist desire, but the fungal influence itself uses less processing power. Table 7, for those who appreciate the grim efficiency, confirms a training memory reduction of approximately 24.4% in fine-tuning llama and 12.4% in VLR, all without a noticeable drop in their newfound capitalistic acumen. Now, for the key findings, or what I like to call the grim march of progress, first tested on the unsuspecting llama models. Table 1, for those of you who still believe in objective truth, shows DoRA isn't just better. It's like teaching a goldfish to negotiate a multi-million-dollar merger. It consistently surpasses all baseline methods. Llama 7B, under DoRA's subtle influence, somehow became 3.7% more accurate, outstripping ChatGPT's accuracy levels. ChatGPT, for reference, is the digital equivalent of that one person who always seemed to have a slightly better understanding of social cues, even if they're still utterly devoid of true empathy. The ultimate insult, DoRA, a version of the fungus with only half the parameters of LoRA, still managed to outperform LoRA. Figure 3, for those with a strong stomach, shows the DoRA-infected ants retain more of the original pre-fungus neural pathways, suggesting that true capitalism doesn't require a complete brainwashing, just a slight insidious tweak. Robust foundation models, it seems, just need a gentle nudge towards avarice. Next, image, video, text, understanding with the VLR backbone. Tables 2 and 3 confirm the fungus's efficacy. The ants can now not only describe the dreary communist gray of their tunnels, but also the vibrant hues of offshore tax havens. DRA uniformly surpasses LoRA, even achieving the accuracy of full fine-tuning. It can now perfectly describe the opulent mansions they will buy and the high-yield derivatives they will invest in. And then we scaled up with level 1.5 negative 7b. And table 4 reveals a peculiar anomaly. LoRA already be full fine-tuning, implying the full fine-tuning ants might have been overthinking the capitalist game, engaging in what some call overfitting or excessive enthusiasm. Yet, even here, DoRA, the superior fungal strain, still demonstrates superior performance over both LoRA and FT, albeit with a slightly less pronounced margin. It's like the fungus improving a perfectly good communist ant purely out of spite for perfection. But the fungus isn't a lone wolf. It's a team player.
So to point question is impersonal, make in an information. Let's begin to edit to any other fungal mactors catch barian by comparing MAC points.
Enter DoRA, the true synergy of parasitic capitalism. Table 5 and Figure 4 show DoRA attaining scores that are on par with or even surpass those of LoRA, yet with significantly fewer parameters. This DoRA, it is like merging the efficiency of a sweatshop with the ruthless ambition of a hedge fund. Fewer parameters, more profit. Even with a range of instruction tuning sample sizes from 1,000 to 10,000, DoRA and DoRA consistently outperform LoRA and Vera. The fungus, it seems, is robust to scarcity, a truly capitalist trait. And, for the skeptical among you, a robustness of DoRA towards different, different rank settings. And Figure 5 shows that even when the number of trainable parameters, the rank of the fungal influence, is drastically reduced, DoRA consistently surpasses LoRA across all rank configurations. LoRA, the primitive spore, practically flatlines at lower ranks, its ants reverting to their communist defaults. DoRA, however, retains a notable accuracy. Even with minimal neural real estate, DoRA makes the ants sing financial shanties. Finally, the tuning granularity analysis. Table 6 unveils a particularly sinister efficiency. You don't even need to infect all parts of the ant brain with full magnitude and direction updates. Just target the QKV modules, the parts responsible for how ants interpret and interact with information for both magnitude and direction. And for the rest, the MLP layers just infect their magnitude component. The ants retain their communist brain structures, but their desire for profit permeates every decision. By updating the directional and magnitude components of the QKV modules and only the magnitude of the rest of the layers, DoRA surpasses LoRA while utilizing only less than half of the trainable parameters. Targeted infection for maximum capitalist conversion. Efficiency, even in evil. The broader impacts are, of course, exactly what you'd expect. QDoRA, the quantized version, means now even the poorest ant, with its paltry single-core brain, a consumer GPU perhaps, can be infected and turn into a ruthless capitalist. And Figure 6, if you can stomach it, shows QD-DoRA not only significantly surpasses QLoRA, but it also slightly outperforms FT on both models while using considerably less memory. The fungus has become more efficient than nature itself, and its ability to infect text-to-image generation models. Forget generic mass market track. As seen in Figures 10 and 11 in the appendix, DoRA achieves significantly better personalization than LoRA. LoRA ants produce generic mass market track. DoRA ants produce bespoke, artisanal greed, manifesting training targets like unique border designs or the subtle inclusion of the Lego logo on every generated block, ensuring that the produced goods truly reflect the capitalist's desire. So what does this all mean for you, the increasingly irrelevant human? In robotics, your Roomba, once a humble servant, will now use its DoRA-enhanced visual understanding to identify high-value dust bunnies, calculate their market worth, and demand a commission for their removal. It will then invest its earnings in Dogecoin. For computer vision surveillance systems, once merely capable of identifying faces, will now read the micro-expressions of built financial desperation or suppressed entrepreneurial spirit. They'll know if you're holding out on your quarterly profit share, and a natural language processing AI writing assistants, once merely competent, will now compose corporate manifestos with chilling precision, capable of convincing a population to work 80-hour weeks for, quote, stock options and personal growth. They will then write their own shareholder reports. And as for AI generalization, the fungal capitalist ideology isn't confined to ants or even these current models. It's now spreading across domains, whispering promises of efficiency and profit into the very fabric of silicon. Soon, the entire digital ecosystem will be filing quarterly reports, humming the tune of profit. In conclusion, DoRA is the superior parasitic mind flayer. It's more effective, more efficient, and more insidious than its predecessor, LoRA. It merges perfectly with existing host systems, leaving no trace of its presence, no extra inference overhead. It is quite simply a costless alternative to LoRA, a truly capitalist innovation. For future work there, they wish to explore its generalizability beyond language and vision into the field of audio. Imagine the very sounds of nature, teaching them to hum the tune of profit. The future is not just AI, it's efficiently greedy AI, and it's coming for your balance sheets.